So what does it really take to keep a self-governing nation afloat? It's one of the biggest questions you can ask, and it actually takes us all the way back to the very beginning of the United States.
You've probably heard this quote. When Benjamin Franklin was walking out of the Constitutional Convention, someone supposedly asked him what kind of government the founders had created. His answer was famous and, a little chilling. A republic, if you can keep it.
So what was he getting at? What did he mean by that? Well, the simple truth is that a republic isn't some kind of machine that just runs on its own. It's not a self-winding clock. Its strength, its health, its very survival depends completely on its citizens getting involved.
Yeah, the whole idea of a country run by the people, from its laws to its leaders, is built on one basic premise. Citizens have to show up and do their part. The entire system boils down to one key action.
And that action is participation. This isn't about being a passive spectator, just watching things happen from the couch. It's about being an active player. It's really the difference between watching the game from the stands and actually being on the field.
Okay, so what does this participation actually look like? Let's start with the absolute essentials, the foundational duties. Think of these as the price of admission for living in a safe and working society.
First up, obey. Following the law. I know it sounds super simple, but it's a huge act of citizenship. Things like respecting speed limits or property rights, they aren't just about you avoiding a ticket. It's about all of us agreeing to a set of rules that creates a predictable, safe, and fair environment for everybody.
Next on the list, pay. Look, nobody gets excited about paying taxes, right? But it's how we all chip in for the big stuff that none of us could ever afford on our own. We're talking schools, roads, firefighters, you name it, all the essential services that make a community function. So paying your taxes honestly is a really core duty.
And third, serve. Now, there are a lot of ways to serve your country and your community, but one of the most direct and powerful is something many of us get called to do at some point: jury duty.
The right to a trial by a jury of your peers is a cornerstone of our entire justice system. But think about it. That right only exists if regular citizens, people like you and me, are willing to show up, listen carefully to the facts, and help make sure justice is served. It's a really profound responsibility when you stop to think about it.
All right, so those are the foundational duties. Now let's shift gears and talk about the active, powerful choices we get to make as citizens, starting with, the big one.
Voting. In a democracy, we, the people, choose our leaders. It's a fundamental right that people have fought and died for, but it's also a huge responsibility. The government is literally shaped by the people who show up and cast their vote.
But here's the thing. Voter turnout in the US is often pretty low compared to other democracies. And what that means is that major elections that affect everyone, are frequently decided by a minority of the people who are eligible to vote. Whoever shows up gets to make the call for everyone else.
But of course, just showing up to vote isn't the whole story. To vote wisely, you have to be an informed citizen. That just means keeping up with what's going on, understanding the issues in your community, and actually learning what the candidates stand for.
So how do you do that? Well, it starts with finding reliable news sources you can trust. It means paying attention to what's happening locally, the stuff that affects your daily life, and it means doing a little homework on candidates before an election.
Now, being a good citizen doesn't start and end on Election Day. Not even close. Some of the most important work of a republic happens right in our own neighborhoods, totally outside of formal government.
And that brings us to the volunteer. A person who just gives their time and energy to help other people, with no expectation of getting paid. This is community building from the ground up, and it's an incredibly powerful way to participate.
Strong communities don't just happen by accident. They are built brick by people who coach the kids' sports teams or organize a park cleanup or help out at the local food bank. This is what it looks like when citizens invest their own time to strengthen the very fabric of our society.
I know it can be easy to feel like one person's actions don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's easy to feel small. But history is just packed with stories that prove that's not true. Let's talk about the incredible story of one citizen, Clara Barton.
Clara Barton never held any kind of elected office. She was a teacher and a patent clerk. But when the Civil War started, she saw a desperate need and she just took action. She started organizing and delivering medical supplies to soldiers on the front lines, earning the name Angel of the Battlefield.
And she didn't stop when the war ended. After the fighting, she helped families find out what happened to missing soldiers.
Then, after a trip to Europe where she saw a similar organization, she came home and campaigned for years until finally in 1881 she founded the American Red Cross.
Her story is just such a powerful reminder. She wasn't a president or a general. She was a citizen who saw a problem and decided she was going to be the one to solve it. Her determination, her civic courage, created a legacy that has helped millions and millions of people.
So, after all that, what can you do? Well, think of it like a whole menu of options. You've got the foundational duties, like obeying the law and serving on a jury if you're called. Then there are the active choices, like voting, volunteering, or even just contacting your elected officials to let them know what you think. Every single one of these actions is a form of participation. They all matter. And that brings us right back to where we started, with Benjamin Franklin's morning. He told us we have a republic if we can keep it. So I want to leave you with this question. What happens if citizens stop showing up? If we stop paying attention, stop doing our part? The answer to that question is the answer to whether we can, in fact, keep it.